this is a true pleasure. I get to talk to a Pro Football Hall of Famer from Louisiana. He played at Louisiana Tech, went on to get drafted by the San Diego Chargers. I remember him with the San Francisco 49ers when they won numerous Super Bowls. Pro Football Hall of Famer Fred Dean. How you doing, Fred?
Oh, I'm doing fine today.
So, Fred, I know you're from Louisiana, and you went to Louisiana Tech. Were any of the big schools after you back in the day, like the Alabamas, the Georgias?
I couldn't quite hear what you said there.
Oh. I know you went to Louisiana Tech, but weren't any of the major schools after you back then, like the Alabamas, the Georgias?
Yeah, well, Louisiana Tech, was right in my backyard. I lived. My grandmother lived like a block from it, so I enjoyed watching them play down there. And I used to go and watch it on in that time. I used to watch it from the top of the hill at the stadium, and that's how close it was. So I had a lot of.
So what was your first training camp like with the Chargers?
My first training camp, it was interesting. I had to go out and prove myself as far as the skills that I had and so forth, and it was an experience that I had not had before. It was different than high school or college. Because now you're playing with the actual men, and it's just being able to sustain and to go through the necessary pressure that come along with the football. So it was an interesting period of time for me.
The weather was a little better. You go from the heat and humidity of Louisiana to the perfect weather of San Diego. That had to be nice.
Yeah, well, I think that had a lot of advantages and disadvantages because number one, I was kind of used to the heat, and whenever we went to play in a climate similar to Louisiana, I always seemed to fare pretty good. So it turned out all right for me because the weather is great in San Diego, and here in Louisiana it was hot and humid. So it was a big difference. There was a difference in that, but also that, like I said, it was an advantage to me in so many ways.
When you went to San Diego, they've been known as an offensive team up until the time you went there. They had great coordinators, great offenses. Coryell joined them in the late 70s. Was the defense kind of an afterthought, or was Coryell just as committed to the defense?
Well, I would say Coach Coryell was more so committed to the offense, but we had real good defensive coaches, and they made a difference overall for us. In a lot of instances, I know in the beginning it was kind of tight for us to achieve certain goals, but the things that they did, it really changed the way we played, because when Coach Coryell got there, being that he was more offensive minded and putting points on the board, that gave the defense the opportunity to expand and try the different things in order to stop offenses. And those it was proven practice to us at that time.
So you were a second-round draft pick as a defensive end or a defensive tackle? Because I know you played tackle in college.
Well, I kind of played sort of like linebacker and the way they used me in college, linebacker and defensive tackle. But once I went pro, it was more of a defensive end. I was drafted as a linebacker because of my size, but after the first year there, my thing was I wanted to play. I wanted to be a down lineman, so I guess you could say it panned out for me.
The Chargers, their defensive line was underrated. You had what was it, Kelcher on the defensive line?
Yeah, we're at the defensive line, and Leroy Jones, Gary Big Hand Johnson, even Wilbur Young later on, Charles Dejanay. There was a lot of guys that came along and was very instrumental in us being having success. And I would say the years that we led the league in sacks, was more so dominant years, and it proved to pan out later on for us.
Your second year, I mean, you were just a force in there with all those sacks, even though they weren't official stack. Did you think, you know what, this game is pretty easy here?
I didn't quite get what you said, Dave.
No problem. You had all those sacks in your second year before sacks were an official stat. Did you think to yourself, you know what, this game's pretty easy?
Yeah, well, the thing was, none of it was a great one, but I enjoyed, I enjoyed putting the pressure on the quarterback because I knew if you could make it a one dimension, you'd be able to just pin your ears back and go after the quarterback. So, that was the thing. And being that Coach Walsh, he was down in San Diego for a minute, and while he was there, he saw how I put pressure on his quarterback when practice. And actually, he liked that, and he said, I guess he saw where it could be instrumental to him at that time.
Did it help you going against Dan Fouts in practice every day to make you a better player?
Well, no, I didn't really go at the Dan. You couldn't hit the quarterbacks and all that kind of thing even back then. So, but just to get close to him, and be in his face every now and then, to make him look at your face, and sometimes probably get tired of looking at you. But, that was the thing for me. And to work on my skills, because we had great defensive ends at San Diego when I first went there. And people like Coy Bacon and Tipton, Dave Tipton, that I looked up to them because of their skills, and I just thought that maybe I would hone my skills with a lot of the things that they did and improve upon mine and watching them.
I mean, yeah, like you said, that defensive line you guys had was basically unheralded, but you were good. I mean, you had Gary Johnson, yourself, Kelcher. I mean, you led the NFL in sacks in 80 with like 60, which was unheard of back then. Yeah.
Well, like I said, that was a lot of the thing that when we played, we kind of we had each other back and it kind of clicked. So thing is, we were very motivated, and my thing was always to go after the passer. When you stop the run and you could go after the passer at a free pace, and it normally you would come out victorious if you were successful.
What I never got is how San Diego never made a Super Bowl during your time there.
Well, I can't really say why we didn't make it. I would say, we had the personnel, I feel, to have made it there. And I know that with it, I was traded. I felt that we had an opportunity at that time. And being that things didn't work out and I got traded, my hope was that we meet the Chargers in the Super Bowl, but we didn't because they were unfortunate. They had lost to Cincinnati. So, it's like we had the personnel. We had the game plan to, get into the Super Bowl and actually probably try to win it. But we weren't able to do that with the Chargers.
How did you end up going to San Francisco? Was it just that they wanted to trade you, or was it because of the contract dispute?
Well, it was basically the contract dispute that it boiled down to. It's just the the business aspect of it, and I guess Mr. Gene Klein didn't feel that I was deserving of what I was asking for, neither with John Jefferson or the rest. But the bottom line is it paired out pretty good for me.
Then you go to San Francisco, you probably thought to yourself, you know what, I'm going from a great quarterback to a team that's got a young quarterback. This is going to be a little different. Are we going to have a chance? But then you end up playing with one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Yeah, well, that's true. And the bottom line is, like you said, I left with Goodwin and Dan Flouts, and I went there and was able to, I had met Joe and talked with him. Matter of fact, we went on, when I first went there, we went to do an autograph section together. We had a pretty good ride, and we had a pretty good chat. We talked and so forth. That was a lot of adjustments for me, just going to San Francisco. And then going there, I found that Joe, Joe was, he was very cool, and he was very, in other words, I enjoyed being around him, in his presence and so forth. And his humor, was real good for me, because he made me really feel like I was a part of San Francisco.
What was the difference between Fouts and Montana?
Well, I would say it like this: they both were pretty good. They both were good quarterbacks. I say it like that. When you look at them both now, you can see how both of them would be in the Hall of Fame. That's where the different people have different styles. So Joe had his, and Fouts had his. And Joe was, I say, he was much more mobile than Danny. And Dan, he was more of a pocket passer, and he had great receivers around. And Joe had the great receivers, but he was able to get out of the pocket and make things happen, And but Dan was more of a pocket passer, so that was the difference in itself. But they both were good.
I mean, you get traded in mid-season there to the 49ers, and there wasn't much expectation by Coach Walsh on you, and you surprised everyone because you came out there and you started playing right away.
Yeah, well, the thing was, like I said, Coach Walsh had been in San Diego. He had seen me play. He had seen me disturb offenses in some shape, form, or fashion. And, when he brought me into San Francisco, I guess he felt that I was the final link in what he needed to get some things done. Because I remember the first game that I played in was against the Dallas Cowboys, and they hadn't had much success. 49ers hadn't, in beating them. And I felt that when I got there, Coach Walsh had told me that I wouldn't, because of what when I came in, he was kind of concerned about my conditioning and so forth. But when I got there, it was one of the things the Cowboys I hadn't really played against the Cowboys, and my success, I would say, came from me going there, and I didn't really have anything to prove, but I wanted to advance my skills as far as get rushing the quarterback. It's the thing that Coach Walsh had given me the opportunity to do.
I mean, you had some success against Danny White, but then the next game you had Pat Hayden. You got him 5 times there. You must have thought to yourself, I'd love to play the Rams every game.
Well, no, I just, my thing was I knew that I was halfway decent, so I knew that I could have a big impact in the various games. And, with the guys beside me, like Lawrence Fuller, Dwayne Boyd, and Tina Turner, running a lot, Dwight Hicks, all those guys, I'm saying, they made you feel comfortable in playing. You know, I had adjusted to the Chargers defensive line and so forth, but I'm saying I felt just as at home with those guys. And you know, my attitude was always to give other players if you can beat me rocking, you can have the shit. And, you know, it was kind of a thing that was something between us that we would go out and do to be successful in the pass rush and running game and all that. So, you know, it was all overall a good situation.
And then you played Dallas in that memorable game, the Dwight Clark catch game. What was that like?
Well, you know, that was a great feeling because being with San Francisco that first year and that catch caused us to move on deeper into the playoffs. Then, you know, that was an exciting moment for me to see Dwight make that catch. And you know, it was like playing against the Dallas defense and doing as well as they did, you know, because they could have won a lot of different ways, but the bottom line is the 49ers were destined to be champions. So the thing there was that you know, we did things back in that time. They called it. We were sort of the Cinderella team, and that we did things to really surprise people. But all along the way, we had something to prove, and because the great players that we had, and Ronnie Lott and Hicks and all those guys, those DBs, saying they set a precedent.
And then you go on to the Super Bowl and end up winning the Super Bowl. You must have thought, you know what, this is easy here because I get just San Francisco midseason. I get Defensive Player of the Year. We win the Super Bowl here. I like this town.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying it was a place that you could very easily fall in love with. The situation, you know, that I had. It was kind of I'd say it was kind of lonely in the beginning because, you know, I didn't know the people that well, but like I said, they made me feel right at home. And the thing about it is the camaraderie that was amongst the guys in the locker room. Everybody, you know, there was a connection there that, you know, you can't really describe it because people were not tense as I had witnessed in the past. You know, the tension, you know, in some places the tension can be so tough or so tight, like you couldn't cut it with a knife. But that was, I'm saying, we were so relaxed, you know, and going out to play because they had people like Hacksaw Lemon and Keena Turner, those guys, and Barnes, those guys, they made it interesting because, you know, the thing about going out and hitting when you're passing that first lick and you being successful off of that.
Who was the leader of that defense? Was it you when you came in, or was it Hacksaw Reynolds, or was it Rodney Lott, who was just a rookie?
Well, I would say that it was a combination of us all, you know, coming together as one. It's kind of difficult to describe it, you know, because we had leaders all the way around the board. My thing was, you know, I didn't really have to say a whole lot, but my issues were, hey, you go out there and you hit them in the mouth, and we can be successful. But you had guys that go through their rituals, their routines, and you know, it's like it was a combination of everything. Everybody wanted to win, so we did or said whatever it took to get to that next step, the next stage.
Rodney Lott, I hear the stories about this guy. I mean, having his finger cut off to stay in a game. What did you think when you were with the 49ers and he did that?
Well, I didn't realize that took place until after the game. You know, I didn't. It hadn't dawned on me, or I wasn't told anything like that. Not that it was, but for him to do that and then continuously play, you know, it spoke volumes of Ronnie, you know, and his heart and will to win. So, you know, there was a lot there, and that's what I'm saying.
Oh, exactly.
It was a lot for us, you know, and things that happen like that. It let him guy. It makes everybody know that, you know, you got people that's going to be behind you, be beside you, you know, and got your back. And that's the interesting part of playing the game of football. Some people make mistakes, and you know, there's some that compensate. And when we made mistakes, there was others that would always compensate. You know, you had people that would compensate behind. So it was a overall team effort.
Who gave you the toughest time blocking you?
I didn't hear what you said, Dave.
Who gave you the toughest time basically blocking you? What offensive lineman?
Well, you know, I can only say it like this. As far as I'm concerned, you know, the offensive lineman that I played against, being that I was small, you know, smaller than the majority of them, well, probably all of them, they were all pretty tough for me. You know, but I could down and say who really gave me a good game each and every time. You know, when we play against like the Raiders, you know, RCL, you play against LA, the offensive tackle, Jack Slater. You know, I mean, these guys were good. And, you know, it was always a good game. It was always a checkered game to play with those guys and try to achieve your next goal with those guys. And, you know what I'm saying, the guys, you know, the guys in the name, they're all Hall of Famers. So, you know, those guys, they were all, I would say, pretty skilled players. And, they would all give you a hard time, you know. But, you know, I had my share of success against them. But they also, you know, they did vice versa. But, you know, I just figured the more I would play against some people like Anthony Munoz, you know, for instance, like I didn't play against Anthony Munoz in the beginning at all. But in the later years, you know, I'm saying, and these guys, they were pretty tough. You know, so I would say that it all balanced out in the long run. But
when you went in the Hall of Fame, what was your thoughts?
Well, I didn't really picture me going into the Hall of Fame. I never even, you know, I never really thought about it. I just heard of it and knew that there were some great players in there. You know, so I didn't let it bother me at all, because I did know how good I was, and I didn't need to get in the Hall of Fame to understand that. But the bottom line, it only give me the stamp of approval when I did get there. And, you know, it's a great pleasure to be amongst those guys.
Towards the end of your 49er career, the 49ers drafted receiver Jerry Rice. Did you have any idea he would become the NFL's greatest receiver?
No, I can't say I did, and I don't think there are too many others that thought that either. But I know that his work ethic, when you look at some people, work ethic, you know that they're going to be successful in what they do, because there are some things that, you know, when I looked at Jerry, he didn't really have that true speed, but he worked at it and running good routes and the way he run them and everything. He worked on that continuously. So the bottom line is, his success. You know, we had people that came there and did those things in that manner. And me personally, I looked at some of the greats when they played And I'm quite sure that Jerry saw something too. And, you know, they was inspired by that, pretty much. And I knew that he would be good. I just didn't know how good. You know, and like I said, you can see that in all that. They're running a lot in those guys. You knew they'd be good, and they were good, but you couldn't really say this person or that person is going to be that good, you know.
Oh, no, you play with probably one of the top 5 quarterbacks of all time, the top receiver in Jerry Rice, and probably the top cornerback safety in Ronnie Lott.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. It's like you can't, you can only imagine, you know, and I know that's why we were drafted and all that stuff, but you got players that were pretty good and were just, you know, they were free agents. So, you know, it's a well-rounded combination of things that take place, and success is, you know, is born out of that.
You know who takes credit for Jerry Rice, basically his training regimen, is Roger Craig. He said, I took him under my wing and I told him how to train.
Yeah. Well, and you know, it's a lot of things like that, because I'm saying the first days that I saw Jerry, he was having difficulty trying to catch the ball and all of that, you know, and it's the things that you people that you find and they say various things, because my attitude with all players, regardless of who they do what it takes to get you here, you know, do all those things, what they saw in you in the beginning, because of your skills that they saw, the way you ran routes and all of that. So, you know, just like when men, Big Hands, and all those guys together, even when I went to the 49ers, is the concern is that how well you play the run and how you would get after the quarterback and make it tough for a team to try to be successful over you. The thing is it is the person's attitude, and it's how they go about doing it. And different people took different ones out of their wing, you know. So I'm saying to understand what it took to get you there is a lot of your success.
How good of a coach was Bill Walsh?
Well, I would say that Bill Walsh was a good coach. He was a great coach in many instances, because he knew all the pieces to put in place to be successful, to get the job done, and that's what he did. He mastered doing those things, and there's a lot of coaches in the league do back then and today. You know, they can handle situations better than some coaches. You know, but the bottom line is the key is getting the basics and all that down, and then going forward with it. And he did that. He know how to keep his players relaxed and going into it. And I'm saying, if he wasn't relaxed, you know, he didn't always show it, you know. So certain things he would try to keep from the players, I guess, and they would be relaxed, and you can go out and be willing to play for you regardless of the circumstances.
I think the biggest asset the 49ers had besides the players was the owner, because you had the best owner, I think, in sports at that time. I mean, you go from San Diego with Spanos to Eddie DiBartolo, and it had to be basically a dream for you.
Yeah. Well, number one, let me get that squared away. I was there. It was Gene Klein.
Sorry, Gene Klein.
He was the owner when I was there. It wasn't Spanos. And Mr. D, he was to me, he was a top-notch owner. He was the guy that called Bill Walsh and all those to put forth the best effort to get the job done, because number one, he was behind you 100% regardless. And to me, Mr. D, you know, he really, for me, gives off a positive energy for any player that played for him, because he was interested in the players and how they felt, this, that, and the other. And he would talk to you on a level that it would make you want to play for him, and go out and be as successful as you can be. And, it's shown throughout the years, the success in him. And I know that every guy that played for Mr. D, what I'm saying, you're going to have times where players are going to have disputes with the bottom line. The majority of them, they didn't really have that type of dispute because he did a lot of great things for people,
Oh, I mean, just look at the Super Bowl rings. You look at the 49ers Super Bowl rings compared to the other teams. I mean, he spared no expense on those rings.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm saying that's the kind of person he is, like I said, he to me, he was a player's owner. He helped you in every way. I'm saying to choose people, smart people like that, to get the job done, to be successful, to have the fan base that he had, and to make them really feel comfortable because a lot of the extra things they did. And I'm saying a lot of times he was doing things to make it easy for the players to play. Even though we go through the periods of time that was rough, he would always do the things that made players feel comfortable. And it for me, it even shows to this day. And I look forward to him one day going into the Hall of Fame, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, because it's people like that, I feel that deserve to be there. Because it speaks volumes of him and his organization, what he did and how he did it. I'm just saying, he's a great man.
Who was your favorite player growing up?
Well, I had a variety of them because from running backs to linebackers, every now and then a quarterback. But I would say my favorite player, I would say was when I was coming up with Jim Brown. He was one of my favorites. The lineman, Deacon Jones, he was another one of my favorites. And then there was Dick Butkus, and those were the ones that I grew up really knowing and really understanding. Having whenever I want to do, I know they put forth their best effort and their skills. Even though it changed from time to time in the year, but their skills were really impressive.
When you go to the Hall of Fame and you see those guys, the Deacon Jones, the Dick Butkuses, the Jim Browns, do you say to yourself, I can't believe I'm in the same basically group with these guys?
Well, no, I don't say I can't believe I'm in it, but what it is, to see them and be around them, these are guys that when you once idolized them, you never even thought that you would meet them, but the bottom line is one day you did. And my thing was always to grab some of that success for myself because I wanted to be as good as they were, and change the way the game was played in some form or fashion. And that's what all of them did. They changed the way the game was played, and they were successful at it, and it made me feel really special whenever I could go out and play at a caliber that they had played at and be as successful as they were.
So when Deacon Jones or these guys ask you for a favor, you got to say yes to those guys because those are your idols.
Yeah, well, the bottom line is, I know if they ask me for a favor, and it's in my will to be able to do it. There's no question in my mind that I won't go out of the way to try and do something for them. Because, like I said, they're guys that I looked up to, and these are the same people, that I'm saying, they're establishing the games the way they did in the past, and then getting rewarded for it. I'm saying that's something very special, and just to be in that echelon, it makes you feel special because it's a brotherly feeling amongst those guys, you know, and you see all the different personalities and the things that made them do and be the way they are today. You know, it really spoke volumes to each and every one of them to me, and it was just a feeling that I will never forget. I'll always have that feeling in me until the day I die. It's something that I would always want to pass on to kids, also to let them know that, hey, if you are hard work and all that, you can change things.